What's good people? So finally, Bo Nickal got humbled in the UFC. Finally, Bo Nickal's hype train was ended. It was derailed, and by none other than Darida. First and foremost, if the UFC was very adamant that Bo Nickal is the next John Jones, the next great American hope, surely they would have done their studies. They would have seen how Bo Nickal performed against Paul Craig, and they would have seen how Darida performed against Kevin Holland, and they would have said maybe, just maybe, Darida is a bit more seasoned, a bit more ready, a bit more prepared for the UFC than Bo Nickal. Because for as much as respect the UFC gives Bo Nickal and his wrestling, he was very, very scared to use it. Well, very tentative to use it against Paul Craig. And Darida, who's someone who is very confident in himself, he came from 1FC, he has experience in MMA, he was not afraid to show that he has jiu-jitsu against someone like Kevin Holland, who, mind you, is kind of the gatekeeper when it comes to the middleweight or the welterweight division. He's basically the barometer, the person that you throw at these new guys to see if they really have it. You know, they threw him at Khamzat passed it. They threw him at Michael Venom Page passed it. You know, they throw Kevin Holland to a lot of these new prospects to see if they're really ready for the UFC, because Kevin Holland is a UFC veteran. He's a UFC seasoned veteran. And I think maybe that's what they should have done with Bo Nickal. Throw him to Kevin Holland, because Darida is just a different level for Bo Nickal. And yes, many people are rejoicing, many people are happy because Bo Nickal was speaking a lot of smash, saying he could be he's the dude to beat Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat wrestling is not that good. And people told him, Bo, wrestling, college wrestling, regular wrestling is not the same as MMA wrestling. These dudes from Chechnya, Dagestan, they understand that MMA wrestling is a different field. When it comes to the whole wrestling, professional wrestling, you might have their number, but when it comes into the octagon, trust me, these guys are a different breed. And Bo is still adamant that he could beat Khamzat. He was already cashing in checks he could not, he was already signing checks that he could not cash. You know what I'm saying? He was telling people that the biggest fight to make is him versus Khamzat. Brother, get through a few contenders first. Get through Paul Craig. Look dominant against Paul Craig. And it's very showing that Bo Nickal's first few fights against tin cans, he looked dominant. He looked absolutely good. And then as soon as they threw someone like Paul Craig at him, we started to see holes in his game. We started to see, oh wait, Bo might be struggling here. Bo might not be the invincible dude we thought he is. And then they throw someone like Darida at him, a seasoned MMA fighter, someone who now has 3 fights in the UFC and 3 finishes. Submission, knockout. They throw someone like Darida at Bo Nickal, a seasoned MMA fighter, and it all comes crumbling down. Now, of course, this loss might act as a great lesson for Bo Nickal. He might go back, he might look at the holes in his game, he might take a year off, some months off, or he might want to come back as soon as possible. The beautiful thing about MMA is that you're not defined by your losses. Not everyone's going to be Khabib, not everyone's going to be John Jones, not everyone's going to be the great undefeated fighter, not the Floyd Mayweather of combat sports. The Floyd Mayweatherism of combat sport doesn't apply to MMA. We've got Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Islam Makhachev, Alex Volkanovski, all greats, all respected fighters, all appreciated fighters, and they have a couple of losses on their resume. Someone like Charles Oliveira had a bunch of losses before he became champion, and he was in contention for being the greatest lightweight fighter of all time. Think about that. So Bo Nickal, this loss doesn't do any damaging effect to his career, but it does let him know that he's not this invincible dude he thought he was. Now, what does the UFC do from here? Do they give up on Bo Nickal and start throwing him into shark-infested waters and just pile him with fighters after fighters who can dominate him? Or maybe they say, let's reel it back. Let's build his confidence. Let's throw some tin cans at him before we eventually put him back in there with real MMA fighters. And it's a very interesting thing to see, man. Darida, first and foremost, that dude is a beast. That dude is definitely going to be in title contention in the next year. So he is a problem. He is so well-rounded. He understands. He doesn't panic. He sees his shots. It's just so good. The knee to the body, it literally devastated Bo Nickal. It had him wondering, like, where the hell? That pain was different. But let me know what you guys think. Is this a good thing that Bo Nickal lost, or maybe the UFC really needed Bo Nickal to remain undefeated so that they could build this next star, this next superstar? But to be fair, the UFC does not build stars anymore.